Hey, welcome to today's presentation. We're going to be talking about 9 ways HVAC companies can use social content posting to raise brand awareness. If you're a heating and air conditioning contractor, you know that one of the most challenging things for you as a business is the time that it takes to build your awareness in the community. You may you oftentimes are in the field. You're working on people's uh, units. You find yourself in crisis mode a lot. Why? Because that's usually when people call you. Isn't for preventative maintenance, but for crisis maintenance, to fix a crisis. And so, oftentimes, it is your industry is seen in the light of that, and so it can be, quite a bit challenged to be able to put yourself in a place where you build brand awareness. And so we're going to talk about that in today's presentation. I think there's a big question that has to be answered. How does an industry like the HVAC industry, that's considered essential for comfortable living and working environments, grab attention? Because the only time they really think about you is when everything suddenly that was supposed to be warm goes cold, or everything that was cool is now hot, and that's when you get a call. And so creating a better awareness, getting more attention, I think is something that heating and air conditioning companies have to consider how to use social media to do that. Why? Because there's some challenges. When a heating and air conditioning unit has a problem, it's usually a high cost ticket. It's usually not a simple fix. Oftentimes it's because people wait to the last, to the dire moments, and they have to get it fixed. The competency level, and it varies in air conditioning. You have people who are just starting, and you have people who have been in business for quite some time, but haven't kept up with the newest and latest technology. So there's the issue of how do you ensure and let people know that you are on the ball, so to speak, that you're competent in the industry. Then there's always the urgency factor that goes on in heating and air conditioning, that moment of crisis that everybody seems to have, and they need it fixed now. And so how do you keep people informed and at top of mind, not to wait to that moment? Social media gives you an opportunity to help educate people about that. And then, of course, as in any industry, in any service industry and product industry, there's always people out there who want to take advantage of people in their moments of emergency, those scammers. So how do you keep yourself presented as a professional, that people know, I know they're professional. I can tell that by what they put on their social media accounts, whether it's LinkedIn or whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of the other social media platforms. They know you're professional. They know you're here. You're not a fly by night because of what you put out there for people to see. Why? Because people do that today. They go to the internet to check companies out. They want to know what the reviews are. They want to see the company. They want to see if they know what they're talking about. Social media posting gives you a great opportunity to do that and be answering the questions before the people ask them, because they can see what you're posting on a very consistent basis. So let's talk about that. Let's get started. In part one, we're going to talk about how to use eye-catching professional image and graphics. We're going to talk about using the variety to limit post blindness, and we'll talk about what that is in a moment. And talk about using branding, that is your logo, your phone number, your website URL, to heighten awareness for people, so when they find you, they know it's you. And how to use engaging fonts and color schemes to stand out from the crowd. So let's get started. My name is Dean Renfro. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Your Marketing Doctor, and we're really here to help you and your business leverage your time, your energy, and your resources so that you can do what you do, that is make profits, by letting us do what we do, and that's to give you the content you need to make you look really good and to answer those questions that we talked about in the beginning. So let's go ahead and take the first step. Use eye-catching professional images and graphics. It's important, very important, to realize that there's all kind of images and artwork and graphics out there on the internet. But just because they're on the internet doesn't mean they're free, doesn't mean they're not licensed, doesn't mean they don't have copyrights. And to just go out and grab a piece of content, an image or a graphic, and throw it over on your social media account and use it doesn't mean that you had permission to do that. You may have very well violated copyright rules or licensing rules and basically stand to be reprimanded or even fined for using somebody's content. But that oftentimes that's what happens. Why? Because you don't see this as the priority of your business, yet for the customer it is a priority. Who are these people? I want to know about them. So using professional graphics and images paints a picture for people that you're a professional, that you care about your company and your business and your industry. Number two, using variety limits what we call post blindness. Post blindness means that if you put the same thing up all the time in the same format all the time in the same colors all the time with the same kind of messages all the time, people begin to not pay attention. So they don't see your content, your posts, because they think they already know what it is, right? So when we talk about variety, we're talking about variety of colors. We're talking about variety of design. We're talking about variety of pictures. We're talking about variety of content so that people don't go blind to what you're posting. And it's an important factor. The third one in this is using your logo or your brand or your phone number or your URL to heighten people's awareness that this is you. This is your company. So when they share it and somebody sees it, they go, "Oh, that's this HVAC company. That's so and so heating and air. I recognize that by the cartoon man. I know who that is," etc. So that becomes important. Again, notice in this graphic there is the logo that would follow all of these around, but there's also, again, professional graphics, the right arrangement on the page. It's not crowded. It's easy to read. It's about one thing. So creating branding helps your awareness everywhere your posts wind up going. Also, using engaging fonts and color schemes is helpful. You do this to grab attention, to paint a better picture, to be able to make sure that people grab a hold of what you're posting. It catches them. So using the right fonts at the right places is critical and important. Making the part about what people read easy to read in easy colors schemes. And then, of course, making it pleasant to people to look at. And so that's an important part of engaging people through the uses of fonts and color schemes. I hope so far this has been eye-opening for you and your business to realize that there's a lot of thought goes into posting content on social media. It's not just a random, let's throw this up there. Oh, I saw a cute meme over here I want to put up there. Oh, that was a cute cat video, and somebody posts that there. Or one of your guys shoots a video on the job or takes a picture or two on the job, and you tend to use that over and over again to announce, hey, we're doing this, or we've got this special or that special. And pretty soon people just begin to ignore you because it's not engaging. So the important part for your business is to create engagement, and you do that by using great professional content. Let's move on. To part two, we're going to talk in this part, we're going to talk about how to be consistent with your posting. One of the most difficult tasks that every business has is being consistent to post, because there's a recipe, there's a formula involved in posting content. A lot of times people don't know that. They're not aware of that. And so they post randomly at random times and they wonder why people never see it. And they begin to think, this is not worth my investment. And oftentimes it's just simply because you're not being consistent with what you're doing and following a formula. We call it a recipe. How to use hashtags to promote tracking. Critical components so that people today, savvy people on the internet, have learned they can type in a hashtag and see everybody's content about that one subject. If you're not putting any or putting a bunch, it gets confusing to people and you don't realize what it's for. Again, because we do this, because you want to have people who know what they're doing your content, you'll find out that it gives you great advantage. Repurpose your content for other social platforms. Oftentimes, businesses run out of stuff to post, run out of content, run out of images because they try to use it in all different kind of places, and it winds up being unprofessional at the worst. But oftentimes it doesn't get done because it's too difficult to because they start from the wrong place in purposing their content. There's a formula to that. There's a size that works that allows you to take the same content and repurpose it at least 4 places, if not 6 or 7. We're going to show you how to do that. And then how to use content to sell your services without selling. It's always better to be getting people nodding their head and saying yes before you have to ask them to say yes. And content, social content, can do that for you. So let's get started on part 2. Be consistent. How do you be consistent? The best way to be consistent is to be prepared ahead of time. What am I talking about? I'm talking about having days and days and days of content, of graphic content done, and the verbiage, the blurbs, what we call it, that goes along with it, already done, so that it is easily put on your social media accounts. And even better, using auto posting tools to be able to automatically post it at various times, the right times, what the social media platforms say are the premier times, or the most engaging times on each one of the platforms, and they're all different. But you probably aren't aware of that, and so it makes it hard to be consistent. So be consistent is important. It creates top of mind awareness for your viewers. The next tip is all about using a series or theme post to create a comeback feature. So when you use things like tips, or you use things like history, facts about stuff, when you use things about maintenance ideas, and when you create wording processes that allow people to realize, oh, there's more of these, wonder what they are. I want to come back and see what they are. And so we find that using series or themed posts, that is the same graphic, the same colors, and then vary what's being put as a graphic or a picture on there, gives people the opportunity. I'm going to come back and see what they're going to say tomorrow, or I'm going to go see what they said yesterday. That's an important component. And then using hashtags, as I mentioned earlier in the blurb, to promote tracking is key. So in this case, you might have a hashtag HVAC tips. And in this series, you would put that on there so that people would go in and search for HVAC tips, and all of yours would come up with your branded, or your logo, or your URL, or your phone number attached to it. Or you might have any number of hashtags that you would use. And that makes it important to put that in the verbiage that goes with your social media content post. Another tip is to repurpose content, as I said, so that it appears in the various places where your audience is. See, it's not about where you are, it's about where they are. Some folks are on Facebook, some folks are on Twitter, some folks are on Instagram, some folks are on LinkedIn, some folks are on Pinterest, some folks, read blogs. So where people are is important, but there's a way to create content that is multi-purpose. That is, it can be repurposed without doing anything to it, and it fits the standards, the requirements of those platforms without any extra work on your part. So knowing and being able to do that is a key way of being able to keep content out there so that people recognize your brand and you raise the awareness of your company out here on social media platforms. And then, of course, how do you sell your content? How do you sell your services without selling? By using your content to do that. Notice here that this one image talks about things to consider when buying an HVAC system, right? And it points out, look at the SEER rating and energy efficient ratings. And then there's an arrow pointing to that. You see, that is a pre-sale, because when you then talk to your customer about a unit, they're going to go, oh yeah, I saw that. Oh yeah, I was aware of that. I agree with that. The better it is, or the more, or whatever the tip or the fact might be that you want to get them to agree to, that's going to be a selling point, put it in a graphic. We do that so that it helps seed the concept and selling process that makes it easier. Well, I hope we've been able to show you that we've covered all of the tips here. We've talked about eye-catching professional images. We've talked about variety posts. We've talked about branding. We've talked about being consistent. We've talked about using hashtags, about engaging fonts. We've talked about repurposing content. We've talked about using content to sell your services without selling. I hope you found that these tips are very helpful for you to begin to think about, how do I do that as an HVAC company? You might be asking yourself your question, I need some help with that. Well, we're here to help at Your Marketing Doctor. We're here to help your business leverage your time, energy, and resources so that you can focus on doing what you do, that is making a profit, and let us do what we do, that is providing you this great content that creates brand awareness about your company in the social media areas. You can find out more about us by looking down there at the bottom, www.socialpostingmachine.com/HVAC. You can go there. If you need help, and just fill out the form, and we'll reach out to you and see how we can best help you. Hey, I look forward to talking to you soon. I hope these tips were helpful for you.